G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to War Thunder with Mags, and welcome to 2019's April Fool's event. I know I'm a little bit behind on this one, and at this point you've probably already seen the event yourself, but I figured I'd still do a video as I do one on this every year. And this year, Gaijin's April Fool's theme is UFOs. Specifically, the story behind this one is supposed to be a town has been isolated by a bunch of aliens who have been zombifying humans and sticking them inside of their UFOs so they can deathmatch around a city. Yeah, it's as ridiculous as it sounds, but hey, at least there was some storyline behind the idea. Now, opinions on the event. Well, I'm going to get this away relatively early. This is boring as shit. It was alright for the first 5 or 10 rounds, and after that I just had no interest in playing it anymore. And this was honestly a little odd, as a general rule, I usually haven't been able to get enough of Gaijin's April Fool's events. I had a hell of a lot of fun with modern tanks, which is now battle rating 10. Last year's submarines, I played them until the moment they were pulled down. I did stop playing regular War Thunder so long as those submarines were available. This, however, was just kind of crap, and you're seeing part of the first problem here at the moment. The hitboxes on the UFOs were tiny, and the beam, well, without a shield bothering it, requires about 6 seconds on target in order to be able to destroy an enemy. Now, you're seeing the issue here. The beam moves instantly to the target and therefore doesn't require any lead. So in theory this should be perfectly fine, except that doesn't take into account ping. I'm sitting on about 250 ping here at the moment, and I do eventually manage to destroy this guy. That guy was probably sitting somewhere around 250 to 300 ping as well. Neither one of us were on the exact point in the screen that we appeared to be in to one another, in a vehicle that can move in any direction while flying and requires precision aim to the exact location that we actually are in order to be able to take the shot. Anybody above about 150 milliseconds would have been having a nightmare trying to get these beams to function as they should, and it just made gameplay frustrating. That being said, the UFO itself is actually beautifully animated, and the way the light reflects off it, the way the dome turns in order to track the direction you're actually looking in, the detail on the UFO itself was amazing. But the UFO isn't restricted to just flying around, it is also capable of engaging in combat underwater, and when it goes underwater it gets access to what is essentially a railgun shotgun. Surprisingly, this was actually easier to use than the beam. The rails are pretty much a one-hit kill, and because everything tends to move a little bit slower in the water, it's much easier to calculate a lead on the target. It was a hell of a lot easier to actually take UFOs out down here under the waves. So I spent a lot of time down under the water, plus, well, you've seen my cold waters videos. Taking me on the water, very, very big mistake. But anyways, as a general rule, most people have accepted that Gaijin tends to use the April Fool's events as a testing ground for some new mechanic. A lot of people are actually saying this year they were testing VTOL. They were testing VTOL with the flying UFOs. I honestly don't think they were testing anything this year at all. I really don't. The UFOs fly using a variation of the helicopter mechanics, which have been in the game for, 6 months now? So these are not exactly untested. There was nothing new or even remotely felt like something that would be incorporated into a VTOL aircraft. I don't think that is the case here in the slightest. Looking through the rest of the event, I honestly do not think there were any new mechanics being tested in this event at all. What I do think we may have seen in this event, however, is some sneak glimpses into what Gaijin is up to in regards to terrain design. So, for example, the underwater area here, I can tell you from last year's submarine event, this is a hell of a lot more detailed than it was before. There's a lot more complexity to the way the terrain is actually done, the textures are generally higher. The whole terrain down here just looks better, which does mean that underwater environments have been through some level of development in the last 12 months. Now, on top of that was actually the cityscape. This is, without a doubt, the most detailed cityscape that's ever been released for War Thunder. Now, just look at the buildings for a start. Look at the textures, the details on them, the size of the buildings themselves, and then, once I kill this guy, have a look at the greenery, the way the grass is done, breaking over the roads. Nothing like this has been on any map that we have seen anywhere in War Thunder up until this point. I think we're looking at Gaijin playing around and testing some new ways of rendering and designing cities for future maps. And if this is the case, as I keep getting stuck to these posts, I'm really excited with the idea of... Get it under control, Mags. I'm really excited with the concept of actually seeing some new maps built with this kind of tech, because this looks fantastic. I mean, in all honesty, what I want Gaijin to actually do once this event is done is pull the dome off the top of this city and then just slot this into arcade, or this whole map into just arcade and realistic battles. If there aren't any runways, plonk down off the sides, plonk a couple of runways down so planes can take off, and that's it. Just let us fight tank battles here, because this looks great. I want to spend some time on the ground in this city in a tank. And for those who will say in regards to me saying realistic battles that, well, this isn't a particularly realistic map, I cannot begin to tell you how much I do not give a shit. I still want to play RP battles inside of this city. I don't care if the map's unrealistic. It just looks like something that would be a hell of a lot of fun. You know, modern battles, helicopters going in between the towers, jet fighters. Hell, even have World War II tanks on here and have 109s dodging between the buildings. That would be a hell of a lot of fun. But yeah, overall this event, not much really else to say for it. The UFOs were pretty, they flew really well, they were a lot of fun to fly, but the gameplay was mediocre at best. The map design, however, both underwater and around the cities, and in general, just looked great. And that was pretty much the highlight for the whole thing for me. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching. As always, remember to click that like button, share and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and until next time, fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.